Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson. We also have a brand new channel. It's called Friendo Club TV. Go subscribe to it now. We've got all sorts of content going up there, a bunch of short form stuff, some fun stuff, some old stuff, some new stuff, wrestling stuff, non-wrestling stuff. We got a whole bunch of stuff going up over there. It's a lot of fun. We're going to talk about NXT 2.0 in just a little bit, but we got a bunch of news, including a really weird story about Shane O'Mac, as the thumbnail this episode says, if you're watching on YouTube. Before we get started, I do want to give a birthday shout out to Rob. We got an email from Deanna, who I believe is his wife, yesterday, and she said, and we met Rob at one of the Starcasts before.
Okay.
And I remember him, terrific guy. So I was like, sure, I'll give Rob a birthday shout out. So hopefully Rob has a terrific birthday from Deanna.
Yes.
You know who doesn't get the wonderful birthday wish from his own dad every year?
Shane McMahon.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him. What's going on with Shane O'Mac? He got released? What's going on here?
So, yeah, he's been in the news quite a bit since his return to the Rumble this weekend. It's been reported over the last few days that he's had a bunch of backstage heat following his work producing the Men's Rumble, that he was slated to have matches at both Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania, and that he was set to feud with either Seth Rollins or Bobby Lashley, or maybe both. I don't know. But today, this saga took a really weird turn because it appears he has been let go by WWE. So for a variety of reasons, we don't typically talk about ringside news here on the show as a source. We just don't.
Yeah.
But they were the first to report that Shane had a bunch of backstage heat following the Rumble. Because he was like focusing so much on himself and his role in the match, making a bunch of changes last minute amongst a bunch of other things. And they reported today the following, quote, "There is a lot going on with Shane McMahon. He is now off Raw, Elimination Chamber, and WrestleMania. A tenured source within the company told us that Vince McMahon is also, quote, quietly using the term let go to describe the situation. Shane McMahon has been let go." They continue. Vince had no choice. Shane created chaos, had everyone in an uproar, pissed off everyone in the Rumble, openly buried other producers, and was changing things that Vince wanted. Vince had no other choice but to send him home. So the ever-reliable Sean Ross Sapp looked into this report and tweeted, quote, "Regarding the Shane McMahon report of being quietly let go from WWE by Ringside News, I've yet to be able to get it confirmed, but was told by another source it's likely true. Ringside News has been accurate with their report surrounding him, Shane, that I've heard thus far. Though he wasn't listed as a producer internally for the Royal Rumble, he helped put the match together, which he's done before in the past. We're told he was integral in a lot of the changes in a match that was already heavily changing as is. Andrew Zarian offered up some potential context as to why Shane may have been let go. Quote, "Few notes from source regarding Shane of the Rumble. There are numerous changes to what number Bad Bunny would be. This was a cause for concern, and people within WWE were upset. WWE doesn't want to come off as negatively with such a major outside superstar." And then after those reports and tweets, Dave Meltzer tweeted, quote, "Just a confirmation that Shane McMahon is out of WWE, more to come," but then noted on the Wrestling Observer's website about this particular story that it's, quote, "unknown whether his talent deal was terminated or if his plans for him the next 2 months were simply dropped."
Well, I mean, shocking. Number one, Ringside News, not exactly the most credible site in the world, getting something right. That's cool. Good for them. But also, yeah, Shane waking up one morning, I'm going to go down to the Royal Rumble, the second biggest event of the year. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to fuck it up.
It's like he decided, I'm going to make this Kendall Roy's birthday party, you know?
yeah, right.
We've made the comparison
here's the birthing canal.
Yes, we made the comparison between Succession and the dynamic seemingly within the McMahon family a lot.
Yeah.
This seemed like a very Kendall Roy moment for Shane McMahon, where he's going in there. It's all about me, rubbing everybody the wrong way, seemingly. And, you know, it's one thing apparently to rub everybody in the locker room the wrong way. But if you potentially upset a major music superstar in Bad Bunny, or if WWE felt that was a risk, then I guess, according to this, Vince thought, can't have that. Gotta let you go.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if that was the straw that broke the proverbial back, or if it was just everything. If he walks in and Vince is like, "Oh, Shane versus Seth, I don't like that. That's not good. Nobody likes that. That's not good." Wait, is this Freedom KME? Is this true in our chats? Is PW Insider is now reporting that Shane was pushing for a match with Austin Theory at WrestleMania? You want to double check that one? That was our idea. That was our idea. It was a very good one too.
That made the most sense.
Yeah, bring him back for that match. That actually sounds like a cool idea. Damn it. Yeah, it's a really weird situation because obviously Vince has been very high on his own son for decades now. He brought him back, I don't know, 4 years ago or 5 years ago to fight The Undertaker.
So this is what PW Insider says. Says yesterday there were creative plans for McMahon to be a regular on Raw as a heel leading into WrestleMania. McMahon had been pushing to work Austin Theory at Mania with the idea playing out of Theory's involvement with Vince, but that wasn't locked 100% in place. There were other forces pushing for Shane versus Seth at Mania. There had been a planned sequence at one point to set up Rollins versus Shane as a feud in the Men's Rumble match, but as part of all the changes leading into the show, Rollins was pulled from the Rumble match. This afternoon, Shane was internally pulled from the Raw roster, and the word making the rounds was that the direction has changed.
Now, the small caveat with PW Insider, the Rumble brings with it all sorts of news and stuff that's coming out. And I think PW Insider is the ones that had Riddle as having been listed as a winner at some point, and Sean Ross Sapp was like, that's not what I heard. So
they have this other bit here too. Is quote, it was said that Shane was obviously frustrated the day of the show and that some believed that came from his ideas being shot down by Vince McMahon. The talk was he was upset that he wasn't being allowed to do what he wanted. And that he was greatly preoccupied by his own role in the Rumble.
Oh, man. Wow. According to Wrestling News Now, Roman Reigns has been suspended.
For
I have to click on the video. It's Wrestling News
right.
Now. I want to let them get in on this Royal Rumble action. Everybody's jumping into it now.
I guess so. I mean,
it's nuts because it's Shane. Like it's Vince's kid. He's always featured. Whenever he's around, he's featured in a prominent way. He had a Kevin Owens match. He had like a Kevin Owens Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, this Undertaker, his return match.
I know, the Undertaker
and Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, the guy is always featured. Like, honestly, the next logical step is a WWE title match, to be honest with you. It'd be perfect long-term booking, but nobody wants to see it.
No, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that, especially when you have roster members who are working every day on TV, who probably deserve those spots right over Shane. Shane, if you do Shane, like if Shane's like a celebrity guy who either wrestles celebrity or is said celebrity and has the one-off feud here and there outside the title picture, sometimes Shane can still put on somewhat enjoyable matches. That's okay.
Yeah, he had a good one with AJ at WrestleMania 33.
Yeah, but the problem is, like we mentioned, I think yesterday, the day before, whenever he's involved in a major storyline, it seems to act as like a creative black hole for that show and just sucks up everything else. And it kind of takes the energy out of the show. I really point to the Kevin Owens Shane feud because that just completely obliterated. Like SmackDown was pretty good until that feud started to take over the show, and then SmackDown was bad.
Honestly, my bigger issue, because that's totally legit one, because that's when SmackDown started being crap, and before that was good. My biggest issue with Shane has always been back in the late 90s and aughts. It made sense because he was the crazy rich kid, or he was the rich kid with arrogance, and he would do crazy shit. That was just his shtick, right? And then he grew up, and now I'm just supposed to understand that he's not crazy dude anymore. Although he does stunts, he totally does stunts. But he's supposed to be able to hang with AJ Styles as a wrestler. Shane is never around, and he shows up, and he's supposed to hang with AJ Styles as a wrestler.
Well, at the Rumble, he eliminated Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
he was trading strikes with Matt Riddle.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
It didn't. It was weird. And that's always been. I know, look, the guy can put on good matches or whatever, but it's always been like, with wrestling, you have to check your brain at the door a little bit. You got to suspend your disbelief, as they like to say.
That only goes so far.
It only goes so far. Like, I like to think that these dudes who are in there, the guys and gals who are in there, they're training every day. They're staying in peak fitness. Your cardio is great. Or you've got the big monsters like a Moss, for example, who doesn't need to do that because of his stature. Shane's none of that. He's like, an old, super sweaty guy who it's not believable. At a certain point, it's not believable, and not in the kind of way where it's like fun, where it's, like Chris Brooks fighting a blow-up doll. That's fun. That's funny because that's what DDT Pro is. This is not that. This is like, I'm supposed to believe that this is like, I like my fake fighting to at least have, when it's appropriate, a semblance of reality or realism.
Well, here's the thing. You have this world that WWE's created, and that world must operate under its own internal rules.
Yeah.
And we see these internal rules, and then when they do something that seemingly violates those internal rules, which happens fairly regularly in WWE, that's why it can be a frustrating watch.
Yeah.
There's a disconnect there. And not every wrestling promotion is perfect in that regard. Heck, most TV shows and movies aren't perfect in that regard.
Right, yeah.
But if you get it right more often than not, I'll buy into it.
Yeah.
If you get it wrong too often, it's frustrating.
Yeah. And that's just us saying why we don't want Shane around. It is surprising. This whole thing is pretty surprising because Shane is always featured in a major way whenever he's around. So
yeah, I woke up to this. I woke up to some chatter about this. I saw it on Twitter. I'm like, what is this all about?
Yeah, right.
I looked it up, and I thought, well, that's a weird turn. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, the idea like him being released, especially like one day before we are possibly expecting some releases, given that there has been a pattern with the WWE in their quarterly earnings
financial calls. Yes.
Right, coinciding with releases. They do that on the same day. So tomorrow, Friday, we're sort of hoping that this trend doesn't keep up. But yeah, like this happening a day before that, also just weird, just bizarre. The entire thing, him just showing up in the Rumble, sort of putting his stamp on it, and then now disappearing. That is such a weird thing in wrestling. That's something very specific to wrestling. It's very rare, and it does happen, but it's kind of rare in a TV show or a movie that a character, more TV show, that a character gets written off and it's never discussed. Like there's no reason for it. Like it happens, but usually it's like, oh, they're killed off or they're mentioned in a sense. With wrestling, we're about to talk about releases. Like that time Aleister Black showed up after the Dark Father stuff, and he just showed up on SmackDown and kicked Big E and never showed up again, and nobody talked about it. And as wrestling fans, that's a weird thing that we've just taken for granted. People just disappear in the middle of programs.
It's not a recent thing. It's not a recent thing.
No, it's going forever. Back
years and years.
It goes back decades. It's just one of the weird tropes of wrestling that we just have gotten, that you just buy into because you find out, oh, yeah. I love that.
It just happens. People's contracts run out. People get released, and they just move on.
And they never talk about it.
Middle of the story or not, these things just happen.
Like, can you think of any form of entertainment where that is? I mean, wrestling is a very unique one because it blends weird sports, and they do not want like backstage stuff getting out, so they don't talk about it. It's weird, man.
It is weird.
Soap opera. Does that happen on soap operas? Even on soap operas? Don't they like usually explain, oh, this person died, and then they'll bring him back to life if the contract negotiations go right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah,
they will take weird kind of left turns with stories sometimes.
I mean, yeah, I've seen somebody mentions Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince. She was just recast. That happens. I mean, that's fine. It's just it's a character.
It was the same character though. It wasn't a different.
It's the same character. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that happens.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, ExpressVPN. So I'm sure you know this, Larson, but here's the deal. If you think your online activity is safe from prying eyes, you're wrong. It's fiction. Every time you surf the web, someone is using your device to track your location, your movements, and in some places, your internet activity.
Wow. But if you use ExpressVPN on your phone, computer, whatever device you have, your internet connection is rerouted through a secure encrypted server so you can surf the web more anonymously without anyone looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, with one single click of a button, ExpressVPN stops others, whether it be your internet service provider, your network admin, whoever, from getting a peek at your online activity. That's why I use ExpressVPN whenever I use the internet, and all the friendos out there should do the same.
So protect your privacy today and get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Visit expressvpn.com/GIR. That's expressvpn.com/GIR for 3 months free with a 1-year package.
Visit expressvpn.com/GIR to learn more.
Let's get a word from our sponsor, Raycon. So you know, Steve, it's a new year, but not everyone made resolutions for 2022. I know I didn't, but that doesn't mean we can't all shake things up. You know, maybe try out a new workout routine or travel someplace new. But whatever way you decide to make a change, there's no better way to do it than with a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears.
Yeah, whether you're going to a new gym or traveling to a new destination, Raycon wireless earbuds are the best way to bring audio with you. And their everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever.
They've got optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit. Their earbuds fit so well, they don't budge at all. Whether I'm running or doing some burpees, these things aren't moving. See, Steve, look.
Wow.
Not moving at all.
They don't move at all.
They don't move at all. Not only will they stay in your ears, but Raycons also give you the audio quality you need at half the price of other premium audio brands.
Right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/raw. That's buyraycon.com/raw to save 15% on Raycons. buyraycon.com/raw. And before we get back to the show, let's get a word in from our sponsor, Factor. You know, Larson,
yeah,
it may be a new year, but I'm the same busy Steve. I got stuff to do for Going In Raw. I got stuff to do for Wrestle Juice. I got stuff to do for the new Friendo Club TV channel. I got streaming stuff to do. Plus, man, got to watch all that wrestling every single week. That doesn't leave much time for grocery shopping or cooking. But now I don't have to deal with meal planning or prep. I leave all that to Factor.
Yeah, Factor makes it easy to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen, pre-prepared meals that are ready to eat in 2 minutes. And Factor's chef-crafted meals are delivered directly to your door. So that means no grocery shopping, no meal prep, no cleanup, and no washing dishes. I got to tell you, Steve, I can't stand washing dishes.
Man.
Can't stand it.
I feel you. Factor's got a team of registered dietitians and expert chefs who work together to create delicious meals with nutritious ingredients. Plus, Factor's got variety with more than 27 meal options each week. You'll never get bored.
Yeah, Factor offers vegan and veggie meals, cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, extra protein, and plant-based bars, and a whole lot more to keep you fueled and focused all day long. You get everything you ever wanted when you're dealing with Factor.
So head to go.factor75.com/raw120 and use code RAW120 to get $120 off. That's code RAW120 at go.factor75.com/raw120 for $120 off.
Let's talk about free agents. So during the last round of releases, the ones in early November last year, all those people, Keith Lee, Mia Yim, Ember Moon, Killer Cross, Eva Marie, Nia Jackson, a lot more, are today officially free agents, free to sign wherever they want. So we got a couple little bits of information about potentially what they'll be doing in the near future.
Okay.
So Killer Cross has already released a new video on Twitter. I don't know if you watched it, Steve.
I have not. Although, how crazy is it that this dude has got a 10 out of 10 head of hair, and for the longest time, He's was rocking the dome.
In this video, I was like, man, what a great head of hair.
I saw just like a still of him, like a publicity still he put. I'm like, he looks 10 years younger.
I know.
When he has all that amazing hair. Keep the hair, Cross.
Absolutely. So apparently he did a High Spots virtual signing of late. I guess he was asked, like, what's next for him. This was his answer. These transcripts are from Fightful. Quote, I'm speaking to a series of companies. We shall see where I land. I'm interested in being anywhere and everywhere right now. I have a lot of different ideas that are outside of some conventional concepts, and not to be cryptic, but we'll see.
There was
Mia Yim announced today that she's going back on Twitch. I think she's streaming on Twitch today.
Hey, going back to Killer Cross real quick. Apparently there was like possibly a tease for him in MLW. There was some sort of like video vignette of like a time thing.
Yeah.
Hourglass. That's what it's called. It's not a time thing. It's an hourglass.
And then Athena, of course, she was Ember Moon in WWE.
My favorite.
Has promised some sort of announcement on a Twitch stream she's doing today.
That's cool. I'll have to check into that. Did she say what time that was at?
It was, I want to say it was about 3 o'clock our time.
Oh, okay, cool. Right on. Right when we're wrapping up the NXT edit process. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's exciting times. I imagine that there's gonna be a lot of chatter on wrestling Twitter and wrestling internet about where some people might be going. We might find out as soon as tonight where somebody's going to be going.
It's a big show. Dynamite in Chicago tonight and Dynamite. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But man, it's a packed month. We got we've got the, I originally thought for whatever reason, I guess I read it wrong. Impact's No Surrender was February 12th. In fact, it's the 19th. And so that's a packed day. That day alone
3 shows
might decide the February Big Red. What am I calling it? The February Ultra Challenge for predictions. For predictions.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. Question, yes.
Why didn't you just make it FUC predictions instead of 4 predictions?
Fuck predictions, because fuck 4 predictions is funnier. It's like it's an activity.
Okay, I'm just curious.
It's not saying, oh, boo predictions. It's do this activity for predictions.
What if you did FUC? Wait, what does FUC stand for again?
Because it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Friendo. No, it's February. It's the February Ultra Challenge. And then, but it has to be, it's not a real thing if you just say February Ultra Challenge predictions. February Ultra Challenge. The challenge is 4 predictions.
What about February Ultra Challenge your predictions? That'd be fuck your predictions.
Fuck your yeah. It still doesn't make sense, but it's funny. I like
it. Doesn't
make
sense, but it is funny.
Tell
it's
you
funny,
what,
at least.
On the off chance that you win, you get to name the next one, or the enforcer gets to name whatever.
I already got the old hamster wheel in here spinning on that.
I like it. I'm gonna get you that potted plant because it's not gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Let's talk about this real quick because I don't want to talk about NXT yet. That's boring. I want to talk about the Performance Center. I know it's not in the notes here, but I've got these transcripts here from a Scarlett Bordeaux interview with K-Dog on the Keeping It 100 podcast. And she was talking about training at the Performance Center. She said this. This was kind of interesting. Well, she said a couple things. She said, first up, she talked about the women's locker room there. She said, on the good side, the women's locker room in NXT is one of the best women's locker rooms I've ever been in. So that really surprised me. Catty, competitive, everyone's fighting for their 5 minutes of television, Scarlett said, on how they normally are. But the NXT locker room, everyone is super supportive of each other. After the women's matches, we'd be standing behind the curtain, hugging and applauding each other for doing a great job. It was just a really great environment in that way. Then she talks about some of the training at the Performance Center. This is kind of interesting because remember back in the day, it seemed whenever there was an indie star who would go into the Performance Center, no matter how good they already were, they would come out of they'd be putting on these takeover matches, which were just stellar, just absolutely stellar. She says, the thing that surprised me, though, I thought the training was going to be a bit different. I had some good training and I had some bad training. I thought it was going to be a very organized system and they would have had like a perfect way to get anyone from zero to become a great wrestler. But maybe that's not the trainer's fault, because I think a lot of the times you take people who are professional athletes, football players, and models, and it's really hard to make these people good wrestlers if they don't actually love and care about wrestling. So maybe the trainers get a bit of a hard time for that. But I thought they were going to be able to turn anyone into a great wrestler. But I don't think that's possible now after being there. She says, I think some of the best training I actually got was on the independent scene, and I think everyone who's in WWE, they'd be better for it if they spent a little bit of time training on the indies. You get something different from training on the indies.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
I don't disagree with that. I think you probably learn a more well-rounded approach to one's craft. Training various disciplines in various places.
Yeah.
I think if you go to WWE, you learn WWE's way of doing. I mean, historically, it's been called the WWE style. I don't know if there's so much a style anymore. I think it's more of an approach to putting matches together, telling stories, that kind of stuff. Yeah, because stylistically, you don't have every wrestler in WWE wrestling the exact same way. There's a lot more variety than there used to be.
Yeah, sure.
That being said, you look at the wrestlers who have wrestled in the independents. It seems like they have a much more varied arsenal of moves. They're able to adapt to various styles more easily.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I think there's a lot of truth and a lot of credence with what she has to say. It's better to like when you go to college. You don't go to sure you major in something, but you don't take all your classes in that one thing. You take a bunch of general education classes to educate yourself about a bunch of other things instead of just that one thing.
Yeah. I'm really curious to hear what Killer Kross would have to say about that sort of subject, because you and I, we were kind of baffled at the way they had him wrestling in NXT. It just felt like he wasn't comfortable with it.
Yes.
And then you go back and you look at some of his stuff prior to that. And I mean, he's not, like a 5-star match guy, but certainly he didn't come off as awkward in the ring. He came off as
I saw a really good match he had with Timothy. I know Timothy Thatcher's a great wrestler, but he had a really good match against Thatcher in Future Stars of Wrestling in Vegas. I know Kross had a really good match with Moxley there as well.
Yeah.
I assume there is a reason why he got a lot of buzz when his Impact contract ran out.
Right. Yeah.
I know he's got the presentation aspect of it down. It can't just be that.
Right.
He's got to have some skills.
Yeah. Just kind of
we didn't really see him in NXT.
I'm really curious if he went in there and there was, okay, we know you can do there, but we want something different from you here. Cause he did show up at sort of a weird time when you could sort of feel like there was a transition. Like, AEW is and WWE is desperately trying to keep bigger names or potential bigger names from going there. So they snapped up Kross. And they made him into something that they weren't really doing a whole lot of, which, was getting away from like, hey, let's do the PWG Ring of Honor style of wrestling. Let's go towards, this is like a main roster type guy. Let's do something with that. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. I remember I saw that a couple of days ago. I thought that was pretty interesting as well. I guess now we have to talk about NXT, Steve.
Man, I've been trying, and it's just, I don't know. This week was just extra dumb. Like there was some good wrestling.
The first match and the last match were both really fun.
The first match was fine. What was the main event?
It was Ciampa and Braun against Legado.
Yeah, that was fine. That was good. I mean, dude, you're not going to get a bad match out of like 3/4 of those dudes are just stellar, like world-class wrestlers, and Braun is coming along. But there's so much like just silliness, and it just comes off as desperate in a way. Like I was happy. I was just happy that Saray got to keep that awesome drop kick of hers and her awesome finish. It's great, right? Just that Saito suplex is nasty. The drop kick is great, but like, she shows up in the school uniform, whatever you want to call it, with that goofy plastic toy looking amulet thing. And then like she goes backstage and she emerges and I'm like, who is this supposed to be for? like who is this for? The Malik Blade, Idris Inoue stuff is really funny. Like, I think it's really funny because boner humor is funny. And those dudes have tons of charm, know, and it's sort of like
good chemistry too.
They've got good chemistry and it's sort of unpolished, and I appreciate that because they're really giving it their all. And I appreciate that. But like the stuff with Jensen It's just so hard to watch.
I know.
It's so difficult to watch. It's so bad. So I don't know, man. I was not into NXT last night.
There's kind of a thread running throughout the show of Kaylee Ray trying to get a title match for Mandy for next week. And I know they in NXT UK, maybe she was billing herself as this prior as the scary Queen of Scots.
Yeah.
Because she can be imposing and intimidating.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And she carries around a bat, but a lot of the stuff they had her doing tonight was cheesy.
Yeah, it's corny, dude.
And then she throws a giant bowl of spaghetti on Mandy Rose and throws a cake in her face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, it's not really scary.
Yeah. I mean, she's just sort of, she's like terrorizing her throughout the episode, but it's all sort of corny stuff.
It is.
Like, I don't even, half it doesn't make sense. Like, she drives off, she eliminates Gigi Dolan and JC Jane by like basically kidnapping them, but then she's back
driving
at the
somewhere.
Performance Center, I guess.
And nothing says, well, give me a title shot like dumping a bowl of pasta on somebody, you know?
Yeah. It was extra goofy this week. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just the least must-see TV. Like, I was like, man, I'd rather be watching Dark or Elevation or both at this point. Which I'll probably still do. I'll probably end up doing that still. But like, because like the last couple times I've watched that, I've really enjoyed it. If for no other reason than like, you know, Taz's commentary is always pretty funny, and you get to see like who they're looking at and who's coming up in AEW.
The future stars of tomorrow. Yeah.
And I get that's what this is. That's what NXT is as well. But some of it is just, it just reeks of desperation. Like, how are we gonna get that young demo? Well, horny. That's how you do it. Because the episode is just chock full of horny, which horny is great. But like, I don't know. It's like horny written by old man.
I know so much of NXT.
That's what this feels like. Even if it's not written by old man, it feels like.
I know. It feels like what older people think younger people are into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's you know, Saray gets to keep her drop kick. That's cool. And she looked when she steps through the entrance, like they have like they've sort of altered her costume to be a bit more superhero-ish, and it looks like $1 million. Like if it was just that, but they do the cheesy thing where they
changed her theme a little bit. I thought too, like they gave it a little bit more of an edge.
I think they did, although I didn't really remember it in the first place. But somebody mentioned that in the chat when we were watching it.
Yeah. I think it's got a little more, you know, like rock drums with maybe some distorted guitar in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That I didn't recall being in there before, but it's also been a while since I've heard it. So
it's just kind of funny that, like, you know, 4 months ago they made this transition, and instead of saying, hey, we're going to transition to this, let's set our team and let's run with that team for a year in terms of behind the scene stuff. Well, 3.5 months in, they fire a large portion of that creative team. And now it just feels like they sort of went off the path, and it's just fucking weird now. And it's just like, it's just not what it was even 3 weeks ago, you know? So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It's you know, it's where we're going to see these characters, I guess at this point, start to figure themselves out. But I don't know, when you see Saray the way she is now, do you see that character done that way on main roster? No. Then what's the point then?
I know.
Then what's the point?
So I wonder if they're giving some talents in NXT a certain amount of leeway in terms of developing their character, with like the only kind of caveat being it's got to be a character, you know. It's got to be something that we could easily write in one sentence what your character is.
Yeah.
You know, and the larger the better. And then it's up to, like, they might have some ideas for some people, other people they might not, and say, all right, pitch us. What do you got? Or maybe some amount of collaboration. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know.
But you see some characters, like I see Mello on the main roster.
Oh, Mello's great.
You see that. Mello's great.
It's
Mello
funny
and Trick are great.
How well he stands out. Yeah. And him and Trick are so well put together. Their chemistry is great. They know exactly who they are, more so than Carmelo did in his short time when it was still 1.0.
Yeah.
They have nailed Carmelo Hayes. He is one of the few absolute bright spots.
Yeah. I see, maybe because we have seen Grayson Waller on the main roster. I feel like that's a main roster gimmick.
I could see that. Yeah, sure. But those are like characters that, and even Braun Breaker, who's just Steiner, right?
I was about to say Imperium, but they're foreign heels. There's
yeah.
I mean, even the ones that seem like work, some of them, not all of them, but some of them, kind of follow wrestling tropes.
Well, I think the things that work about Carmelo, Waller,
that's why I said some and not all. I don't think Mello and Trick are necessarily following any wrestling tropes foreign heels.
But no. I think you're right. But like in the case of the guys that work, what is the thing that always works in pro wrestling? It's you turned up to 11. And it's obvious that Waller is Waller turned up to like 12. Carmelo is probably Carmelo turned up to 12, to 11, right?
Yeah.
Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, I get the feeling that's just Braun Breaker. I don't even think he's turned up. I think that's just who he is. They work because that's just kind of, you get this feeling that that's just who they are. They're not even characters. It's just them. And they're showing their personality. They're showing out their personality. That's why they'd work on main roster. But
that's true.
You can't tell me that Saray is Saray turned up to 12. She's not. She's just a cartoon character or whatever she's supposed to be. Anime, Marvel, whatever you want to call it. She's just a character that doesn't really, that's not going to work. That shit didn't work in 1995. That's why they had to change everything to people who are themselves up to 11.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I don't know if Saray's character is going to work in NXT. I don't know.
I mean, I love the gimmicky nature of Wendy Chu. I think that Karen Q is a terrific wrestler, and I like this stuff. I just don't know if that's going to land her on main roster.
Yeah, it kind of depends. We have kind of supposed the new charge for NXT is, and we've heard this, develop wrestlers that can potentially main event WrestleMania,
Yeah.
Or at least can be bona fide guaranteed main roster stars. Because my idea is that Vince pressed reset on NXT because he didn't feel like he was getting the people that he really needed or wanted to push in the future. And then you look at some of these gimmicks, because they're gimmicks.
Yeah, they're gimmicks.
Some of the gimmicks. And you scratch your head, how is this going to transition to WrestleMania main eventer? And like they've already tried 5 different things with Von Wagner, and they're going back to, again, a wrestling trope. Let's put him with a manager and he'll just be the guy who destroys everybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And even though he hasn't been able to tap into his personality to find a character that works. He just hasn't yet.
The tragic thing about Von Wagner is that I feel like the bits with him and Kyle O'Reilly were at least with that, I got the feeling that was probably Von Wagner turned up to like 8. Like he was starting to get there, and it's like, hey, a good-natured guy who's trying to find his way, but he's actually this devastating like monster in the ring. If he wants to be, he just has to tap into it. That's kind of an interesting, somewhat relatable story.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, what is he supposed to be now? I don't even know. Like, yeah,
he's a guy who beats people up.
He's in a blazer, and he's got Robert Stone, who is a perpetual loser in every sense of the way.
I know. He tried to talk his way out of that too.
Yeah. Representing it's like, man, they really lost that guy too. And they actually for a couple months I think they were on to something with him.
So maybe it's a situation where they allow performers an opportunity to showcase their own personalities, like Mello, like Waller, like Braun. And then when that doesn't work, or they feel it doesn't work, then it's like, all right, we're going to go back to the box of gimmicks.
Yeah.
Here, let's fall back on tropes that have worked for us in the past.
Yeah.
I understand Imperium been doing the Imperium thing since NXT UK, but that's a long-standing thing.
Yeah.
But you go to the box of gimmicks, you come up with a over-the-top gimmick, or you fall back on things that you think have worked for you in the past.
Yeah.
Those tropes.
I get the feeling.
And so either you stand out based on the strength of your own personality, or they're going to keep on cycling through those tropes and those gimmicks. They find something that think that'll work for you.
I get the feeling that Imperium's just Imperium. I get the feeling that once Pritchard came along, he was like, why aren't you pushing these guys? Look at them. Like that's what you want. And that's why they're getting the big push, right? That's why they won the titles. That's why they're probably going to have the titles for a while. And Imperium, honestly, could be on main roster tomorrow as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I did appreciate
it helps too that they're all incredible wrestlers too.
They're all incredible wrestlers. They all have chemistry because they've been around each other forever. I also appreciated the crowd was chanting Walter last night. That was very nice.
Yeah, I think I referred to him as Walter exclusively in my notes for last night.
Excellent. Well done. Well done. So we'll do a rundown here.
Yeah, we'll run through this real quick. So opening show was Imperium versus Diamond Mine. It was probably the best match on the card. Last night. It was a lot of fun.
I know you like that full body pin there at the end.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I left note of that. It wasn't just a full body pin. He actually put his head on the mat.
He did.
You notice that? Almost like he was trying to do a Zack Sabre Jr. type pin, but the other way.
He folded that dude in half.
Yeah, so the match kind of breaks down at the end. It finishes with Brutus and Walter in the ring. Walter tries to put a sleeper on him. Brutus escapes that. Eventually, Walter hits a massive chop and then a power bomb and then the full body pin to get the win. And commentary mentioned that Walter named himself after his grandfather, who introduced him to pro wrestling. Now, Walter did mention that in this promo. Was it last week?
Yeah.
It almost maybe it's because I wasn't paying that close attention, so I'll take the blame for that. It almost sounded like last week when he mentioned his grandfather that his parents named him Walter because that was his grandfather's name, not Gunther.
Oh, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But commentary is saying, no, the grandfather was Gunther, and that's why he chose that name.
Oh. I got that wrong. Cultaholics rating us with Party of 58. What's up, fellas? What are you guys doing?
Hello.
Great to see you here. Great to see you
yes,
here. We're doing a quick rundown of NXT. We just talked about the Shane O'Mac stuff and all the free agents on the market right now. So welcome in. After that, we had a quick LA Knight promo saying that Waller's gonna get what he's got coming to him, and then he's calling out Gacy and Harlan because they've got a match coming up later on in the night.
Then we get a Toxic Attraction promo. Gigi says Indy and Persia got lucky last week, but some will call it a fluke. And then she says, I think of it as their death sentence. JC says they get a title shot at Vengeance Day. And then Mandy is about to talk. She's interrupted by Kaylee Ray, and Kaylee Ray just wants a title match. That's all she wants.
Yeah, right.
And she's kind of like terrorizing Mandy to get it. That's kind of the running thread throughout the show. And so she's putting out her bona fides, the longest reigning women's champion in the modern era. Says if anybody deserves a title shot, it's me. Mandy says, I don't care. Let's talk about me. I've been the face of a bunch of worldwide media campaigns, been on several magazine covers, world bikini champion. She says, I'm the epitome of what every woman aspires to be and what every man wished they could be with. And Kaylee Ray says, are you done? All that doesn't compare to in-ring skill. He says, I was champ for over 600 days, dominated an entire continent while you were slipping on your ass at WrestleMania and sucking face with Otis.
Oh, yeah.
Mandy says, I'm the hottest thing in WWE. This is what the company wants and needs in a women's champion. And Kaylee Ray says, at the end of the night, I will have my title match. And Mandy just says, doubtful. Kaylee Ray slaps her. Gigi and JC run into the ring. Kaylee Ray grabs a bat that she had dropped earlier and then chases them off backstage. And then this whole madcap thing ensues for the rest of the evening.
Yep. Yeah. We had a quick Cora Jade interview where she talks about wanting to prove to Raquel that she is tough enough. They can win the Dusty Cup if Raquel just stops doubting her. So I might get my ass kicked, but Raquel's going to learn that I have what it takes to compete with the best. And then Raquel walks in, says, are you sure you still want to do this? You can still back out. And Cora says, I'm sure.
And right there, that's the story of the match that happened like in 2 segments later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's totally what it was. Before that, though, Mandy's doing a bit of a promo from the parking lot. She's done. She's about to get into an SUV that's there. It's locked. The window rolls down. Kaylee Ray is driving. And she drives off. She's got the rest of Toxic Attraction in the car with her.
Yeah, we're going to go to Sonic's. Gonna go to the Wawa together.
I'll get some sandwiches, huh?
After that, we had Raquel Gonzalez versus Cora Jade. Raquel Gonzalez probably asked a second guest, like wearing sort of split cut shirts, because I think there was a whole lot of wardrobe malfunction in this. Did you notice your screen kept on going black and she kept on like fixing herself?
Oh, that explains it. Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah. So yeah, they're pretty quick with the TV on that stuff though. All the cameras sort of started filming from like behind her because of that. Yeah, it was funny. We're keeping an eye on that. Anyways, so Raquel, surprisingly, does not end with a Cora Jade roll up.
Though she tried.
She did try. Yeah, she did try. Raquel hits Cora with a power bomb to get the win, and then she helps her up at the end, shakes her hand, and says, "All right, let's go win this."
Yeah. So like exactly what Cora said. I'm gonna go out there and prove to Raquel that I'm tough enough to compete with the best. She went out there and competed against Raquel. Raquel was impressed. Said, "Let's go be partners now."
Done.
We had a Saray video package, kind of telling her backstory yet again, in anticipation of her match later on. Before that, though, we got a Pete Dunne promo. I don't know why he's still in NXT.
Hey, did you notice Pete Dunne was talking a lot louder and he had like a weird smile? Like it's like they said, go back and work on your promo. Be like more exaggerative.
Probably be less Pete Dunne. That's probably what they told him.
I think
be
exactly
less
what
like
it is.
you.
Yeah, I handled my business with Tony, but don't get it twisted. I could do it with a cricket bat, a chair, anything I'll get my hands on here at NXT 2.0. I want to sell this where it started, inside a steel cage. Cool, blimey, it's great. Now I'm going with cricket bat.
Yeah,
I've got my new character. It's cricket bat guy.
Yeah, I guess so. That could be. Man. That could be. They're like, hey,
you need to give
How
about cricket bat?
You're the shrug and scowl guy.
Did he shrug at all in this promo?
I didn't notice. No.
Yeah, man, that's done.
Maybe go and bring more energy.
Yeah,
like George Lucas's old direction on Star Wars.
Yeah,
louder, faster, more intense.
I'm telling you, his next promo, he's gonna be talking about how much he loves cricket. My dad used to play cricket all the time with me. I love my dad, so I'm gonna play cricket now. He's gonna come out there. And, I'm gonna go out to the pitch.
Oh my gosh! The thing is, it wouldn't surprise me. So then we had Saray versus Kayla Inlay. During this bout, we got a Kaylee Ray update. She was back at the arena. She's looking for Mandy, but no information about the whereabouts of Gigi or JC. And then Saray dominated this bout, hits her drop kick, then her suplex to get the win.
Oh, that drop kick is amazing.
It's something else, man.
It's so
great.
It
is something else.
Duke Hudson cut a promo on an electric razor after this.
Yeah.
Because now
Clippers,
he's got that. I love that Duke's Poker Room lasted one feud. One feud, and it was done, because essentially he's shedding not just his hair, but Poker Room gimmick. He's done playing games. He says, when you take matters in your own hands, you eliminate luck. I am my own luck. And he's shaving his head the whole time.
Yeah.
He looks a lot cooler. New attitude. Way better than the Poker Room stuff. I think Duke Hudson needs to just be like, okay, what is going to be the quickest way for me to get to main roster? Tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Well, back to main roster. He's already been there.
Yeah, we all forgot it. We all forget about that, though. That was Brendan Vink. That wasn't Duke Hudson.
Yeah. Well, those of us who are paying attention know they're one and the same, Steve. Then we get a Braun Breaker, Tommaso Ciampa bit in the locker room. So Braun's like, hey, really appreciate the help last week. And Ciampa says, I told you, the mountaintop is a lonely place. You don't understand till you be there. Now that you're part of a small circle of men and women who understands that. And I want to make sure that you remain champion. And Braun says, all right, cool. Tonight's all about handling business. He says, you ready to kick some ass? And Ciampa says, uh-huh. Fist bump. Now, are Ciampa's intentions true here, or is he going to swerve Braun? That's my question.
I don't know. Braun
right,
should have been
answer.
like, why do you look so young?
I know.
No, did you know? So not just the beard. I think he got, what is it called when the Roman thing that he got with the teeth?
Oh, the veneers.
Veneers.
I didn't notice that.
Next time check. Because I swear, when you get veneers, like it gives you a little bit of an overbite, like a little bit of I swear Ciampa had that in this.
Oh, I didn't know.
I think he went, they were like, it looks like if Pete Dunne, because Pete Dunne's got, he's got the battle scars of his teeth, right? Veneers next week. Cricket bat and veneers. I'm almost positive Ciampa has veneers now.
I'll have to check.
Telling you,
then we get a Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams promo. This was great as always. Trick says last week Cameron Grimes came out and beat a distracted Tony D'Angelo, and now you think you're ready for the A-Champ. He says, Grimes, you're better off wasting time playing poker in the locker room than coming out here against the A-Champ and getting dish-ragged up and down this ring.
That was awesome.
Mello says, the old him would have come out here and verbally put Grimes in the grave. It's important for me to explain to everyone. I do see him as a threat. It's hard to believe, but I do, which is why I'm going harder at the gym, putting in time in the ring, still spending time with Ollie J, because that's what the A-Champ does. He says, I set the standard, I set the bar in NXT, and I'm looking down on you, Grimes. So this brings out Cameron Grimes.
Man, Trevor Lee was so good back in the day.
I know, this TNA superstar Trevor Lee.
Lobotomized version of Cameron Grimes. So he comes out there. He says, I'm out here because I heard you say that people don't care about me, but I could be wrong. They're not chanting A-Champ. I think they're chanting, and you hear the crowd go, So Trick calls Grimes a low-down, raggedy, goofy bum. He says he knows two things are certain. Mello don't miss, and tricking ain't easy, which is why he's going to take his boot and whoop Grimes slimy and Grimes says, I'm not slimy, I'm grimy. But if we want to poke fun, he says Carmelo's hair looks like SpongeBob's house or some shit like that, and that would make Trick Squidward. It was, oh, God, I can't even read this shit. Trick, thank God, says, I got this. He gets in Grimes' face. He calls his mom a gold digger, says his daddy's a bootlicker, and if Grimes wants to fight, they can fight because Grimes has never been about it. And Grimes is like, wait a second, who am I fighting? You or Trick? Talking to Mello. And Mello tells Trick to stand back. Mello says in 2 weeks, you're going to find out. Mello's going to shoot for the moon and take stars as casualties, which is a great line, too. Grimes says, at Vengeance Day, it's only going to be a one-star match, and that star is going to the moon.
He set the bar low for a match between two really good wrestlers, a one-star match.
It's going to be a really shitty match, apparently.
I know. That's when he said that, I'm like, I can't help but think of star ratings. You're promising a crap match.
Yeah, it's a bad metaphor to make because we're all a bunch of nerds, and that's exactly where our minds go to. Pretty much anybody I think watching NXT at this point would probably be aware of the star match system.
I know. I would think so too. So backstage, we got Malik Blade and Idris Enofe. They're talking about names for their tag team. They can't decide on one, and then Enofe suggests, "Hey, what if we go ask Mandy?" And ask Blade, if she were here right now, what would you say to her? And so he starts kind of going through what he would say. And as he's doing that, Mandy, who's trying to escape Kaylee Ray, like barges into their locker room and falls on Blade's lap. And she's like, you got to help me. Kaylee Ray is chasing after me. And just as she says that, she comes in. So Mandy starts to run. And then Kaylee Ray grabs Mandy's jacket and rips it off of her. And so they go running through another doorway. And Nofe's like, we got to go. We got to go help. We got to see what's going on. And Blade says, I can't right now. I need a minute.
The implication is he's got a boner.
That is the implication, indeed.
I like these guys. They have got nothing but charm. I want to see them succeed. What I really want to see is like it's not going to happen, but a legit win over MSK. Like if MSK loses, it's going to be because their interference or distractions or whatever.
Yeah. It's going to be Enofe and Blade kind of lucking into another win.
They're going to fluke into another win, and it's like, man, that's not how a babyface team really should advance in a tournament.
No, it's not.
But anyways, after that, we had a Diamond Mine interview. Bivens says, without struggle, you can't move forward. We plan on moving forward when we win the Dusty Classic. Julia steps up, says, we've been champs at every level. The larger the stage, the better we are. Bruce says the Diamond Mine strives for perfection. They're going to face Imperium again, but next time it's going to be for the tag titles. And then grizzled young veterans step in. They ask Bivens if he's supposed to be managing these dopes. He says they're picking fights everywhere when they should be focusing on the Dusty Classic semis. He says all Diamond Mine is doing is making their path back to the finals that much easier. We're going to see them next Tuesday. And Bivens says, we're going to kick your asses into next Tuesday, nerds. It was pretty funny. Yeah. Bivens is great.
It was pretty funny. Bivens is great. Then we get LA Knight versus Joe Gacy. Of course, there was Grayson Waller interference. So Knight tumbles out of the ring after bumping heads with Gacy. So the ref's checking on Joe. Sangha steps up to LA Knight. He's distracted by him, and then Waller does the rolling stunner over the barricade, hits LA Knight with it. LA barely beats the 10 count, and then Gacy hits him with his finish to get the win. He and Harlan go backstage. Waller grabs the mic. It's like, hey, you think you belong in my ring, LA Knight? You don't belong here. This is my NXT, and there's nothing you can do about it. So LA Knight gets up. He punches Waller, and then Sangha drops him with a choke slam. And Waller just says, hey, if you can beat Sangha next week, maybe I'll think about getting rid of this restraining order.
Yeah. After that, Wendy Chu is backstage. Tiffany Stratton is lingering there as well.
She just has a problem with Wendy Chu for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. Robert Stone has a promo. He's got Von Wagner in tow. He says, for the longest time, I was focused on the entertainment side of the business, aligning myself with talent who he thought would take him to the top. And then he found the 6'5", 260-pound athlete destroying people, and I told myself I got to get connected to that, because so I paid Von's fine, and I do it again in the future because he is the future, a future NXT champ, WWE champ, and Universal champion. The only question is who's going to stop him? Nobody, because it's Von's world. It's Von's world.
You're just living in it.
You're just living in it. Don't open your mouth.
Living
Don't talk. Don't talk, Von Wagner. Don't talk. It's Von's world. You're just living in it.
So Amari Miller had a match against Wendy Chu next. Before the match, we go backstage earlier in the day, and Stratton's complaining about Wendy Chu to Amari Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells Amari, hey, if you could take care of Wendy Chu, I'll take you shopping. Buy whatever you want on her dad's credit card.
Yeah. It was
so the match
not
happens.
A WWE red card.
Yeah.
Which is a shocking lack of foresight for synergy.
I know. So Wendy Chu's pretty creative as far as getting wrestling moves in that fits with her gimmick. Like she drops an elbow, but puts her hands right here. Like
yeah,
she's
that was pretty good. Yeah.
Earlier on, she had like a Amari's foot, in her grasp and laying on her leg, stuff like that. It's clever and it's fun. Eventually, though, Stratton walks down to ringside and she slides a credit card into the ring towards Amari Miller, and Amari Miller picks it up. Wendy Chu rolls her up, gets a 2, and then Wendy Chu hits Amari Miller with like a running, jumping double axe handle thing for the win.
Yeah.
Earlier on, Wendy Chu did a sleeper. That should really be her finish.
It really should be.
Funny.
It really should be.
Clever.
Yeah.
But anyway, Stratton gets in the ring afterwards to berate Miller, yelling at her, where's my credit card? I want it back. And Miller's like, I don't have it. He cut to Wendy Chu. She's holding it. And then Tiffany Stratton loses her shit.
Yeah, man. Just about to go spend some money. We have Persia. This is so tough. So Persia's backstage. She's like looking at Duke Hudson's Instagram. And Indy walks in with Dexter Lumis. They're talking about winning the tag titles. Indy wonders what she's doing. She's like, oh, you're looking at Duke Hudson's Instagram. Indy says, he's trouble. Persia asks, she's like, Dexter, you think Duke is hot? Lumis gives him a thumbs down. So no from Dexter Lumis. And then Jensen walks in and he just starts like rambling on about a relationship with Caden. He wants it to be just like Indy's and Dexter's. And he's just rambling. And then he says, when a guy talks too much, it's a turnoff. And then like she's like, look, Dexter, look at me. And Dexter gives her like eyes. And she's like, oh, Dexter, let's go to the hot tub. So they like run off. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's the look right there. That's the look. And he tries to give the look to Persia. And she's like, I don't like you, dude. And he just keeps on rambling. And it's just so awkward.
Yeah.
It's so bad, dude. Yeah. It's so bad.
Yeah. Then we get a video package for Draco Anthony. He gets to the gym really early.
He gets to the gym at 2:30 in the morning. Which I don't know if that's like before he goes to bed or if for some reason he thinks it's a good idea for his body clock to wake up at 2:15 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, it doesn't make any sense. We had a match with him a little bit later. First, we had a Nikita Lyons video package. So she's a singer. Her dad was a bass player in a rock band, and her mom was a beautiful groupie. Which is the words she used to describe her mom, a beautiful groupie. and she's the product of that love union. And then she sang a little bit. As the music guy of the two of us, what would you grade her music chops, Larson?
I'm not gonna grade her music chops per se. This felt like a first take.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I think that's,
which is not to say it's necessarily bad. It just didn't feel.
It kind of sounds like it, to be honest.
No, it just like any endeavor, like most actors don't go on set in the first take, nail it. They don't.
Stick to your guns, man. You could be harsh. If it's her first take, she's new. She's a singer who's also a wrestler, which doesn't make fucking like a sense anyways. Like, it never really did. Like, Elias doesn't make any sense. Honky Tonk Man didn't make any sense. If you're a musician, what should you be doing?
Yeah, well, you mean you should be a musician.
You should be doing the music stuff, exactly. So this doesn't make any sense. But, good luck to her. After that, we had a Saray interview. She wanted to dedicate her victory to her grandma. When she wears her amulet, she could do anything. Dakota Kai steps in. She's like, the way you're holding that necklace, I can tell that it's important to you, just like her relationship with her grandma. But as the warrior, the sun must know, no matter how strong a relationship is, the sun always sets on it. She's just doing all the crazy stuff.
Yeah. Then we get Andre Chase versus Draco Anthony. At one point, Anthony boots Chase, takes the giant Chase U banner from Bodie Hayward, waves a little bit and puts down the mat and starts stomping on it. Mm-hmm. And when he's about to do it again, Bodie snatches it from him. And then Chase hits Draco with a bunch of strikes. He stomped on the banner. That gets Chase all angry. Yeah. Hits him with a hammerlock flatliner to get the win. And afterwards, I guess he challenges Von Wagner to a match.
Well, I mean, he's got one win against the dude who's been up since 2:30 in the morning. Which, Draco, I need the next promo to be like, all right, lesson number 1 learned. Wake up at 5 in the morning.
Or he's just going to start in like 30-minute increments. All right, 2:30 is too early. Let's try 3.
Time to start my grind at 3. Oh man, that was even worse
too
than 2:30.
Early.
Let's go a little later. Yeah, today I started my grind. I ate my breakfast first, and then I went in at 3:30, and I threw up all over the gym. Bad move.
Next time. Work out and then eat.
Eventually,
went in at 4:30. Had no energy. Needed calories.
Eventually, it's going to be strolled into the gym at 11. Took a nap at 11:30. I spent 15 minutes trying to unravel my wired headphones.
Then we're in like the break room or whatever it is.
Marvell says he's going to have Kota Ibushi's weird sleep schedule.
Oh, yeah. So we get an extra hour a day.
That dude is bending time. He's like, no, I exist in 24-hour days. I'm sorry, 25-hour days. He goes to sleep 1 hour later every day.
So he gets an extra hour.
Which is mind-boggling. It's nuts.
His body never knows when to be asleep, though.
That's nuts.
So we're in the break room, essentially. This little kitchenette or refrigerator stuff. Mandy runs in. She's like, there's people in there. She tells everybody to leave. And she's resting. She's sitting down. She's drinking some water. And then Kaylee Ray emerges from behind the counter and then gets a huge bowl of spaghetti and dumps it over Mandy's head. And she goes off screen, produces a giant sheet cake.
Yeah.
That's all frosted and everything. Not personalized, just frosted.
Well, yeah, it's just because it's sitting there on the counter the whole time. And when we were watching it over at my Twitch channel, and Forge was like, look at that very conspicuous, non-personalized cake just sitting there. I get that's going to be used, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep. So she throws that at Mandy. And then Mandy just says, why are you doing this? And Kaylee just responds, you know why. And then off they go.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have our main event, Legado del Fantasma versus Braun Breaker, Tommaso Ciampa. Man, Braun hit a hell of a spear here in this match on Raul Mendoza. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. No, I know. That was crazy.
That was actually a really good-looking spear in the end.
It
was. Braun gets the pin after hitting Raul with his press power slam. Him and Ciampa were working pretty good together. That bit where Ciampa hits Raul with a running knee, And then Joaquin Wilde gets in the top rope, but instead of facing what's going on in the ring, he faces directly at the announce table.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you facing that way, dude?
Yeah.
And then when Ciampa pushes him off the top rope through the announce table, it made sense.
It made sense. Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. And yeah, while all that's happening, Braun hits his finish on Raul to get the win. And then after the match, Kaylee Ray and Mandy make their way to the ring. Kaylee Ray gets on the mic, says, I don't want to wait till Vengeance Day. I want my title match next week. And Mandy's like, yeah, fine, sure, you got it. And Kaylee Ray puts down her bat finally, hits her with a super kick and a gory bomb.
Yep. Tonight's a pretty big AEW Dynamite from Chicago. Apparently it's going to be really snowy there right now, right? Is that what's happening over there? Lots of snow.
There's a lot of snow.
So the big deal, the main event, most likely, is going to be MJF, unless they open with this. MJF versus CM Punk. So that's a really big deal. Do you think that's going to be straight up, or do you think there's going to be some wonkiness there?
Oh, they'll be wonkiness.
You think so? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We get Pac and Penta taking on Malachi Black and Brody King. That could potentially open the show. That's a pretty huge match.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be good.
You got Ruby Soho versus Nyla Rose. That should be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And as advertised, Jon Moxley versus Brian Kendrick.
Yep. Let's go ahead and answer a couple of questions here. We have a couple of new patrons here on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steve and Larson. I wanted to give them a quick shout out before we got into some of these questions. We've got Doug Porter, Noah Jarvis, El Gorilla Baby, Kayfabe Smayfabe, and let's see here, Bob Zombie, and then from this past weekend, Tommy McElroy. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it. Let's see here. NXT 2.0 thread on the Patreon said, Moses Supposes says, we used to say that NXT had the best women's roster. If it's not true now, who does?
Impact.
Yep. Impact.
It's Impact.
It's Impact. It's Impact.
Hayden Guacamole says, out of context, you guys sound insane describing the show.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what, I don't know, maybe that's what NXT 2.0 is going for. Let's see here. Darius Johnson, great question, but it's an easy answer for me. If you were a wrestler, would you rather take a drop kick from Saray or a chop from Gunther?
Oh, the chop.
It's a chop. That drop kick would break my neck. I wouldn't know how to take that shit. It looks like half the people she does don't know how to take it. It's just, oh, God.
That's not what you can really do. You just have to sit there and turn your head away.
And you whip your head back and hope that
when impact's about to happen, you lean as far against the ropes as you
get
can.
out of there. Yeah.
Shane's birthday tweet: with all the free agents today, do you see Cross being big anywhere else? After the Adam Cole promo in NXT, I can't see him as the same anymore since it was all true. You know, we talked about this beginning of the show. Pretty much since the first day he stepped into NXT, it seemed like they didn't understand what his strengths were in the ring.
Sure.
And at no point ever played to him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You watch some of his stuff outside of NXT, and he is a capable wrestler.
He is. Yeah, sure.
He is. So, you know, if he were to show up in AEW and have any interaction with Adam Cole, yeah, there might be some reference to it. But you could use that as a story.
Yeah, sure.
You can say, oh, you thought that was the case. Let me show what I can really do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't put a whole lot of credence in that, really.
Yeah. If it were anywhere, I'd love to see what he could do in New Japan. I would love to see that. I think that could be a lot of fun. Let's see here. Pro Wrestling Gunther says, imagine PWG. Imagine it's 10 years from now. Undisputed Universal Champion Von Wagner is opening Raw with a 20-minute promo. Based on what you've seen so far from NXT 2.0, does it give you any hope or inspire any confidence that Raw won't be worse in 10 years?
10 years? Can I retire in 10 years?
What's that? Can you retire in 10 years?
Yeah.
You're probably short by a decade. I think you're short.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know exactly how old you are because you've been very dodgy about that. But I think you're probably a little too early for that.
Well, I mean, it's not like there's a minimum retirement age here at Going in Raw.
Okay, so if you have enough money, you can retire. You could retire now if you want to.
I don't have enough money to do that.
Hey, man, maybe we can sell ourselves to Sirius or Spotify one day for big money. Maybe, Spotify will give us that Rogan money. David Matushek. Oh, does it give me confidence? Well, okay, here's the thing. You got Von Wagner, but you also have Waller,
Braun,
Mello, Ellie Knight. It's like
10
age.
years. LA Knight's
like
going to be
our
like
age.
the twilight of his career. I know.
He's going to be Goldberg age. Let's see here. No, Dave Matushek. Now that Saraya has magical girl powers, what other wrestlers do you want to see transform their appearance before they make their entrance?
It'd be interesting if they. I don't know how they could do this. They can't. I mean, like they don't have a limited budget, so they can't. If there's literally a wrestler that was a shapeshifter, and so they have a match with, I don't know, say it's name somebody in NXT. Just name somebody. I don't care who.
Von Wagner.
All right, say it's Von Wagner. He has a match against Raul Mendoza. Yeah. Well, Von Wagner doesn't think he can compete with the athleticism and speed of Raul Mendoza, so he shapeshifts into, how about this, Joaquin Wilde.
So
and even though that Raul Mendoza knows this isn't the real Joaquin Wilde standing across the ring from it, still weirds him out because Joaquin Wilde's on the ringside as a member of Legado del Fantasma.
I mean, it seems like you could do this with some sort of glitch in 2K19, I'd imagine. I mean, or just 2K19.
Yeah, I'm talking about like in reality, man.
I'm sure they could probably do. They do have kind of they paid $1 billion. They can do that. Hard hologram technology. I think that's good.
Something like that. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I like that. Boa. How about Boa? Boa can do that.
Okay.
Who said that? Yeah. Jonathan just says CGI, man. That's good. I mean, you're just talking about Rawgate, really, dude.
Kind of.
Which you and I both
I'm talking about
think
shape-shifting. I'm not talking about Rawgate. I'm actually talking about actual shape-shifting.
I'm sure Rawgate could probably, some sort of glitch in Rawgate technology would probably result in that. Let's see here.
Maggie gets to the sub to Epic Quest. Thank you so much.
Epic Quest. Cool. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back tonight for what should be a rousing episode of AEW, our recap. We're going to be doing that live. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.